What an excellent first half for the Buffalo Bills. I know it's disappointing for Miami Dolphins fans. I do have a fan who is a Miami Dolphins fan that just got to my house about maybe 2 or 3 seconds before I hit the live button on the show. Disappointing first half. Tua Tagovailoa turning the ball over a few times in that half. One of those came from a tip pass from one of the receivers to go right into the hands of Jamarcus Ingram, and the other one came on a Christian Benford. It seemed like Robbie Chosen had a little bit of an issue with the route. Both of those are not Tua's fault, but 2 interceptions in the game overall. Bills moving through the Miami Dolphins defense and putting up 24 points in the first half. A great half overall on both sides of the ball for the team. And like I mentioned, the Bills starting off strong in that half, putting up some points. James Cook. Let's talk about James. Let him cook in this game. 3 touchdowns overall in the game so far for Cook. He has a 17-yard touchdown pass from Josh Allen, as well as 2 rushing touchdowns in the game. One of those was a 1-yard rushing touchdown. The other one, a 49-yard rushing touchdown for him to put the Bills up 24-10 in the half. A lot of good things to talk about for the Buffalo Bills. Let's talk about the overall team stats of the game. And let's begin with the total yardage in the game. The Miami Dolphins are up by 4 yards for total yards, 192 to 188. Passing yardage, Buffalo 108, Miami 91. Rushing yards, 101 for the Dolphins, 280 for the Bills. Average yards per play, this is where Buffalo has had the upper hand on that. 7.5 yards per play versus 4.9 for the Miami Dolphins. Total first downs, 12 for the Dolphins, 9 for the Bills. Third down efficiency, 4 of 7 for the Dolphins, 2 of 4 for the Bills. 1 of 1 on fourth down for the Bills. And that big stop on fourth down by the Buffalo Bills defense, that Ed Oliver sack, helped the Bills out so much on that play. And the play before with Dorian Williams making a big stop on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, making that 4th and 2 helped out a lot. Total plays on offense for both teams, 39 for the Miami Dolphins, 25 for the Bills. 1 sack for the Dolphins versus 0 sacks for the Bills. Both teams had 1 punt in the game so far. And this is where kind of things got a little strange for the game and penalty yardage. The Bills, they were on the board with 0 penalties so far, and then a 5-yard penalty from Spencer Brown, a false start on that play, versus the Miami Dolphins, 4 penalties for 35 yards. The biggest one came from Jordan Poyer on a helmet-to-helmet hit on a Khalil Shakir. Big-time play in that first half. Time of possession battle, 12 minutes for the Buffalo Bills versus the just about 18 minutes for the Miami Dolphins in that half. We'll turn it over to player stats for the game. And real quick, I do want to go over to the chat because I do see you guys coming into the chat. John Robert coming in. Was that Ingram's first ever interception? That was his first ever interception in the NFL. As mentioned, Ed Oliver on that sack. It was Ed Oliver that had the sack. I mentioned Dorian Williams with a big play before that on 3rd and 1, making it happen on that play and putting Ed Oliver into a great situation. Ed Oliver wasn't even ready for that snap. He was talking to Dwayne Carter, getting him in position for that play, and Oliver was standing up and just made a big play. Incredible job from him. But let's go over to the team stats for both teams, starting with Josh Allen, who is 9 of 13 for 108 yards, 1 touchdown in the game. Tua is 13 of 18 for 97 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The Bills' rushing attack, led by James Cook, 5 carries for 60 yards, 2 touchdowns in the game so far. And then Ray Davis behind him with 3 carries for 17 yards in the game. Josh Allen has 2 carries for 2 yards, along with a carry by Khalil Shakir, 1 carry for 2 yards. And let's turn it over to the Miami Dolphins side of things. Devon Achane leading the way for the Dolphins, 14 carries, 69 yards, followed by Tyreek Hill, 1 carry for 12 yards. If I would have bet on this game, Tua Tagovailoa had a low average of how many yards he was going to have. 1 carry so far in the game for 11 yards. Jalen Waddle, 1 carry for 4 yards, followed by Jalen Wright and Alec Ingle, who each have about 3 yards in the game. Let's turn it over to the defensive side for the Buffalo Bills. And leading the way with 6 tackles in the game is both Damar Hamlin and Balin Spector. As you know, Balin Spector coming into the game after Terrell Bernard had a pec injury. He is questionable to return so far in the game. He does have 2 tackles in the game already. Both interceptions, Christian Benford, as I mentioned, and Jamarcus Ingram, the biggest stats for the Bills. 1 sack from Ed Oliver. That's the only other big time stats for the Buffalo Bills in terms of defense. On the other side of the ball, David Long leading the way with 7 tackles in the game for the Dolphins. There is 0 sacks in the game so far for the Dolphins. So no big playmakers in the game that way, and 0 interceptions. Let's talk about our guy, our former guy, Jordan Poyer, who has 3 tackles in the game, having a little bit of a tough time out there on the field right now, making some mistakes. He gave up that big touchdown to James Cook on that 49-yard touchdown that he had, along with a couple of penalties that he had in the game so far. So not a good game from Jordan Poyer overall. I want to go to the chat real quick. John Robert coming into the chat as well. Ed is starting to show up, which is great to see. I thought that the Bills in the first half did a great job, number one, of finding the weaknesses of Tua and exploiting them. They were able to utilize zone coverage a lot in this game, and they're also utilizing man-to-man to prevent Tyreek Hill, along with Jalen Waddle, from having those deep, explosive plays. When you see this game, you look at Christian Benford, and he has done a great job not only of being able to get Tyreek Hill, prevent him from having long touchdowns or even long receptions in this game. Also, you have to look at Rasul Douglas on the other side covering Jalen Waddle. They haven't had big plays in this game so far. The biggest plays have come from the run game, and I think that that's going to be susceptible when you have guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle who can take you deep. You're going to be deep in coverage with your safeties, and the linebackers are going to have to come in and eat along with the defensive line, and it's going to be difficult. But overall, I'm satisfied with what I saw in the first half. Still, it's a long game to go. If the Bills want to win this game, it's going to come down to time of possession in the second half. They're going to have to hold on to the ball quite often. The Bills do get the ball to start the second half, which is going to be great. I want to see them run the ball a lot in that and take time off the clock, especially with Tua being out there and starting to get a little bit of momentum, especially with some of the injuries that the Bills have on defense. Keep the defense off the field, put the offense on the field by just running the ball and doing a good job of that. Offensive line, I want to take a minute to talk about that offensive line of the Bills. They have done a great job of keeping Josh Allen protected, along with opening up lanes for James Cook and the running backs. The running backs overall, I think for the Bills, have had a great day between Ray Davis along with James Cook and Ty Johnson with a nice catch there as well. And I'm satisfied with them. Let's just keep it up in the second half. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, along with Threads. You can also find us on our website, gobillspodcast.com. Click on over to the website where you can find all of our upcoming shows, along with our shows that we will be on with other channels. We have guys like Nickel City Mafia, Red, White, and Bills, along with a few other channels that we are collaborating with this season. So click on over to the website and find all of our upcoming shows. This has been Go Bills Podcast at the halftime of the Bills and Dolphins game. And let's continue this strong first half for the Bills, and let's bring home a win in South Florida. The Bills overall in the last 10 games are 9-1 against the Miami Dolphins, and they could look to sweep the series again for the second straight year this year, looking strong, and could have a 1-0 advantage on the Miami Dolphins to start the season. We will see you after the game for our post-game show immediately following the conclusion of the Bills and Dolphins game. Until then, go Bills.